Hey guys, what's up? Good morning, everybody. So today is gonna be a very short stream actually, and I'm going to be doing something that I was trying to skip or do later, just because of pure laziness. And that is working on assets for the comic book. I've been avoiding it, and now it's time to do it. So basically, what I do for the backgrounds on my comic, because I wanna spend as less time as possible drawing the backgrounds. I've created like these kinds of files with these assets that you can just copy paste on the background, but now I'm running out of them because they started to look a bit repeating. So I do have some drawings that I did before some time ago and some that I haven't finished yet. So yeah, I'm going to continue with those. And it's gonna be a very short stream because I do have to do something later today. And yeah, let's go. How you guys doing? There's really no order here. I'm just gonna start with the first one that I have. The only thing that I can tell you about doing it this way, the ideal thing is that they are kind of a specific perspective, so it's not like, well, depending on where you're working, I guess, but it's not like the perspective is going to keep you from using them or something like that. So that's important. The other thing to have in mind is the resolution. It should be high resolution as much as you can, or as much as you think is possible. And because once you scale it up in some scenes, it could look like it doesn't have enough detail or pixelated or kind of like soft. These ones are actually sketch on paper because I think it's easier to do this kind of small things on paper, like just very specific things. If I were doing like a complete scene or something, then it will be different, I guess. Like something with a lot more perspective going on, or characters or things like that, I will think twice about doing it on paper. But actually for like drawing details and stuff, it's very useful. Sometimes I can even solve like a little bit of shading on paper right away. When I was doing the Atlas cover a couple of years ago, one of the things that I did on paper were like the guys in the foreground and things that were like close to camera. I did print like a like a dummy, 3D dummy of the scene or the part that I needed to draw, to have it exactly like on the sketch that I did. I can't remember which brush I used for that rose. I think it's this one. Wasn't going to stream today, but since I woke up early, I thought, well, let's do it. Hey, no name, what's up? Is it late there or early? I'm trying to just use the lines to kind of imply some of the perspective of the mushrooms, because they're very simple, and if it doesn't have that, it will look like way too simple then. Thanks, man. Well, what exactly do you like about them? Like the sketchiness? Yeah, people have said that, but I'm really not sure what they mean with it. Like, I'm not being very, like, some other people's style are more flowy, like they have way better, how you call that? Yeah, that shapes are more appealing. And it looks way more difficult though to do it that way. This to me is like more natural and easier for me, I guess. I'm starting to think that you guys cannot hear me. You guys can hear me, right? Right? Hey Prashwell, what's up, man? Okay, I was starting to be worried. Maybe the music was too loud too. We do have a huge lag though. So I'm basically just doing these small lines everywhere and things like that, just so it's not like a pure, just a simple line art, and it looks more complex than it is. Because as I mentioned before, like when you're using this stuff on the background and it's too flat, it looks like there's nothing there. So having all these like small lines and things like that makes it look like there's something behind. Because imagine that your character is this size, because he's a fairy, and you have a close-up, then it will be like what's behind. Like there's nothing. At least here you can see all these details and stuff. I really love realistic stuff. I think it's also called art style. Man, I want to watch this stream so badly, but I have my online exam going on. Well, dude, you should go to your exam, dude. Don't worry about it. Like, you can watch it later if you want. There's no question, man. Nice point, no name. I guess that's where our style is, but let's put it this way. I feel like the art style thing, it's something that just comes accidentally while you work. You just develop it somehow without you noticing. So I'm gonna do one of these and then gonna jump to this ones really quick. So I really like doing that. Once I finish like something in some task, I jump to the other one, just to keep things less boring, let's say. These ones are less defined, so it's gonna be interesting. And these ones I do think need to be bigger. 600 resolution? Who did that? Then it's fine. It's not that bad. What I do think is that I need to turn off the transfer, so I get like a way more solid line. Good morning, Ichan. What's up, man? Let's put this one here too, to check the full one. Well, actually, let's start with this one. Looks more fun. Yeah, I don't know how the art style thing actually is. I just know that it's not like on purpose. It's something that is just happens, I believe, and that's a relief, I think, because once you start like copying someone else's style or whatever, it's weird, honestly. Like, I've tried to do that, and it's weird because it doesn't come from you. It's like, what are you doing? Your body's like rejecting it. Or that's how I felt. Unless it's similar to what you do, you know? Like, if it's similar to what you feel like you want to do, or something like that, it makes sense, kind of, to say it somehow. It's like it makes sense. For example, right now I have no idea what I'm doing with this tree, but it will be mine, you know? That's for sure. There's a lot of stuff going on there, I guess, like muscle memory or like visual library, your skill, like how does it look, your stuff. And right now I'm trying hard to not use the zoom. I wanna keep it like far away, and it's killing me. Like, I had to put my hand in the pocket and everything, so I don't have the reflect to to just go for it, you know, and use the hand tool or backspace. Just like keeping my own things in check. Maybe I should zoom just a little bit, just one tiny bit, like that. One art style that I like a lot is John Howe or Alan Lee from. They worked on the Lord of the Rings. And man, I mean, it's pure drawing. It's pure drawing skill. Everything that they do. Well, John Howe has done stuff in digital, but his main thing is paper and traditional. He's just doing it because of like I guess because of the industry pressure, just to call it somehow. But honestly, I would like to see only his traditional stuff all the time. It's incredible. Yeah, and you do need to have it well configured. That's something that I always tell people. Like, you need to have your tablet well configured. Like, if it's not, you're never gonna learn how to draw with a tablet. That's just facts. It's not even like a question. You need to have it like in forced proportions on, and make sure that the proportion of the screen is the same of the tablet. If not, you're gonna be drawing like in a illusion of that what you're doing is correct and it is not actually happening. Like, and it's just a silly setting. I don't understand why it's not like active all the time. Like, it should be like a passive kind of thing. You shouldn't be able to turn it off even. I don't understand why Wacom doesn't do that, honestly. And I believe that some people have bought Cintiqs thinking that it's better because it translates better to the screen. Obviously, it's just painting on the screen directly, but I believe that some people have bought a Cintiq thinking that they cannot draw on a tablet, and it's just bad configured. I really do believe that theory. Because of course it's directly, like translation. But here you do have to have the forced proportions on. I'm talking about this setting. Let me look it real quick. If you go to the pen options, you click projection, you need to have, first of all, on just one monitor, and you have to have the force proportions on always, because if not, what happens is that, see the difference there? This extra of space that is adding when you don't have it on means that the size of the screen is different at the size of the tablet. So if you don't have this on, so it fits the same proportion, you're gonna be drawing like a circle and you're gonna see an oval shape on your screen. So imagine drawing a body knowing that the lines that you're making are not actually accurate to to what you're doing. That is crazy. This blows my mind that it's not on all the time, like by default. You know what I mean? I think XP Pen has it like by default, man. Honestly, I think I installed it and went for it to look for it right away because it's one of the first things that I check that is correct, especially if I'm going to do a review. And I think it was by default on. I'm like, holy shit, this guy's kind of get it now. Like, is it Wacom that is like falling off a little bit there? No, not anymore, man. That's way too difficult to do on painting, honestly. When I do architecture stuff, I go straight to 3D, man. This is way easier to do, just because it's not more natural to do it on 3D than, unless it's something like organic looking, like a hut or something like that, or a very sci-fi tribal kind of thing, and it's not like straight lines and buildings. I will go to 3D better than in drawing and painting. I used to do it some long time ago, but not anymore. Like, I learned my lesson with that. It's just easier. Like, I cannot tell you how much more easy, but probably like 90% easier. Like, it's just not a question. Now, if you want to make the idea like a sketch on paper, yes, that is actually faster. I wouldn't recommend to just jump on 3D and model something, but it's just no question, man. Especially if you use assets. If you use assets for building the building the buildings, it's even way more easy. But you do have to like design something. I'm actually against those building specs that are too specific. Unless you're gonna use it like to build a city, that it doesn't really matter what city is. Like, you don't have to concept it. For example, I will probably get the buildings, like medieval kind of buildings back from the how are these guys called? Oh my god, I forgot how they're called, but they sell packs or like architecture buildings and stuff like that. And for my comic, I do need a city, and it's like a medieval thing, because the topic of my comic is medieval fantasy. And it doesn't make sense to me to just draw all the buildings, and because I want to draw, or at least work as less as possible on the backgrounds, so I can go faster, I will probably get those packs, and those are expensive. I need to think about it first, because I could actually build some, if I sit my ass and do like 20 buildings, for example, in 3D, super simple, I wouldn't need to buy anything. But I do want the how do I say that? The ability to be able to render them. And if I spend even more time, like, I could texture them like in line shading and stuff like that, and even make it even more and more automatic to just do like just pick the camera, do a render, and there you have it, like a perfectly drawn background in 2D and stuff like that. This guy that I'm doing right now looks like he's taking way more time. But imagine if I have to do this every page. That's crazy. This way I do it just one time, and it's like a savings account. you have it there, your assets there, and then you use them later, and it saves you time. That was a poor example, but you know what I mean. Like, it looks like you're not using your money or getting rid of it or something when you save money, but you're actually like making a really smart decision by saving it. Well, doing assets like this for comic books is actually very very good in the long term. It makes you more effective, especially if you're doing the comic book on your own, you know, like without any help. And the problem with this one is it's just a tree, man. It's a lot of leaves and detail and stuff, so it looks decent. But you saw the mushroom, well, that came out fairly quick. What I did notice is that my trees look very safe, like very much like you will see on a city. It doesn't look like the ones that you will find on a jungle or something. So I need to change that a little bit, because they do look like city trees instead of like natural trees. I'm struggling a little bit with that. I also need to do like a little bit of line weight to make it look more comic booky, something like that. That's starting to look more like it. Also time, man. A lot of people ask me how the hell did I learn how to paint or stuff like that, and it's basically just keep seated and paint until you figure it out, because there's no way around it. Like, try to look for reference and paint that or draw that, and until you figure it out, you're not going to like reach a point where you're like, okay, now I know how to do this. If you're like, oh, I don't know how to do this, and I'll just stop and continue tomorrow, it's like it's gonna take you like so much time, and maybe you just need like 20 more minutes to figure it out, and you didn't know. Something like that. You didn't know that you need 20 minutes, and you just like run away from it. I do see like how people get better. I've seen people like writing me on Discord or Instagram. They send me like messages, and they actually get like better super quick when they sit to it and do the work, but incredibly fast. You start seeing like they're lacking in other areas. Like, for example, there's this kid from my own country, from Venezuela, that is doing like these religious paintings, And I can see how he's getting better at shading, like at least for what I can see, that he's getting like super better with shading and lighting in general, or being more patient. But then like in anatomy he's lacking still, so but I don't want to like steal his how you say that, the motivation that he has, telling him that yet. I'm gonna let him like get excited by the shading that he's learning. Hey man, Howard, what's up? Awesome broccoli. Yeah, it looks actually like a broccoli. It does. Imagine that a broccoli was giant. It will be kind of like this. Épale, David, ¿cómo está la cosa? ¿Qué me dices? ¿Qué me cuentas? Aquí dibujando arbolitos. These ones were like very quick to do actually on paper. They're not that difficult. There's something about drawing on paper that's way easier. I don't know what it is, man. It's just, well, the sketching part. When you're doing like something heavily rendered, obviously it's not that easy. It's not like the easiest thing in the world. But the sketching is very intuitive and quick. Aquí estudiando perspectiva para landscape. Cool, cool. Calidad, como dicen allá. Mi cómic, la verdad es que no tiene horario ni fecha en el calendario, brother. Estoy tratando que sea lo más rápido posible, pero es un proceso. Y luego que esté listo tengo que mandarlo a revisar, de que no tenga errores muy fuertes en el plot, errores muy fuertes ortográficos. En inglés primero, que es la versión que más me preocupa. La española es mucho más suave y luego se traduce. Idealmente a mediados de este año, pero no tiene pinta, ya te digo que no tiene pinta de que sea por cuestiones de trabajo, mucho trabajo ahorita. Y el único tiempo fijo que estoy encontrando para trabajar en él es así, durante streams viernes y sábados. A veces hago stream los sábados en Twitch, pero a veces no. Entonces esos días que no los hago, literalmente no trabajé en el cómic. You draw like a legend, I can tell, because I've drawn for many years. When you draw on paper, it's like lighting a match. The feel is very familiar and cool. The computer is like a flamethrower. Yeah, exactly like that. It's like you don't need to have a like way more conscious about about what you're doing and tiptoeing, use tricks. At some point I even turn off the zoom from the keyboard. Like I just did it again. Like I'm using the zoom again since yesterday, man, because I wanted to avoid doing that, because since you cannot do that on paper, I was like, this is not natural to be able to zoom in and draw like a bunch of detail. It's just not natural. I also believe that what I said about the how you say that, the size of the screen versus the size of the tablet, if it can be the same, and what you're doing is a translation of that, it's better. Like, I don't know what will be the math to it, but the size of the, not even the size of the screen, the size and the proportion that you're doing on the computer should be the same as this tablet. But I guess that for that you do need to make it like the same size. It could actually just be distance of the screen. You could change the size of the screen by putting it far away, for example. That's a way to do it. Gracias, David. En lo que salga les anunciaré por el canal en español también, por Pincel Virtual. Alright, I think this one is done. I don't think I can do any more to it, honestly. With a flamethrower, you can adjust the size of the flame, like the resolution parameters of what you're going to set on fire. Howard is still using his flamethrower analogy to describe digital painting. One thing that I have to do once I finish with the assets thing is to make it to put like a white background on them and then flat them out, because it's the only thing that is gonna make it able to put them quick on the background of the comic and put one on top of the other without then blending the lines. So it's actually like a layer. I have like so many ideas, man, when I'm when I'm doing things. I have a friend that draws creatures, and I'm like, how have you not, like, well, I actually have never told him this, but I'm about to. I'll tell him today. Like, how have he not created yet like a brush for the scales or for the fins, to make fins super quick and stuff like that? It's just, I don't get it. I will die if I have to do tails, fins, and things like that constantly from scratch. Also, you don't know what's gonna happen once you free that from your mind. Like, once you have that freedom that you don't have to think about that, what's gonna happen? Maybe you have better ideas, like make quicker design, more sketches, whatever it is. For some reason, when I'm doing the freaking mushroom, the brush doesn't really get me. I need to use this one. Well, that's something that I just invented. The brush doesn't get me. Whenever I'm having trouble with a painting, I'll say that. New excuse for digital artists, created by Jesus Conde. Let's see. Animation is a social thing, collaboration. It is a must, or we will all go crazy with all the things we want to accomplish. There are many jobs. Yeah. I did work on animation once, but I wasn't animating actually. I was more like in charge of like composition, lighting, and stuff like that. It wasn't 2D. Did you work on 2D animation, Howard? I would love to work on an animated project at some point, like very professionally, you know, because at that time when I worked on animation it was my own studio. It was a long time ago, and we did like TV commercials and stuff like that, and it was fun. It was super nice, but at some point I just made the decision that I just wanted to concentrate more on concept art, and I needed to get out of my country there. It was very rough years. It started well, but you know, things get bad with time, economically on that place, and I had to make the decision of jumping out. It broke my heart, man. My friends there, everything. But I had to do it. They didn't understand at the moment why I was doing it, but I felt like it was time to like just cut it and go for it. Somebody told me once that I could use this to make t-shirts. You know, like those kind of t-shirts that look like patterns. You can easily make a t-shirt with those mushroom patterns. Like, these are not for that, but thanks. Yo también decidí salir, ya este mes cumplo 3 años fuera. Allá no hay vida para el concept art. No hay internet, se va la luz. Yep, that's exactly right. I went to the Academy of Art San Francisco. My major was in 2D animation. I never became a professional and just caught up helping my family problems and paying bills. Oh man. And you really wanted to be an animator? Like hard? I mean, if you for some reason you got into 3D, it's something that pays very well. Like, well, for what I know, I have friends that work on that, and 3D animation pays decently. But I guess the problem there is only the place, because I have a friend here that it's working with companies animation outside, and he gets paid really well, but then the expenses here are way lower than United States. It's expensive too, but it's a different kind of expensive. I don't know how to explain it actually. It's just a lower rates for everything, and it doesn't feel like it's a super expensive. That's something that people don't think too much here, I think. I know it firsthand because of the situation back in my country in Venezuela. It was way worse, so I can see the difference between there and here. But I don't think people here can tell the difference between living in United States and here, because like if you haven't lived there, you wouldn't know how hard it is to live economically there. It's just a lot of money. It's a lot of money, man. David dice, no podía hacer nada ni avanzar. Pues imagínate, nosotros animando la campaña de publicidad de Corpoelec con el muñequito de Voltio y se iba la luz. Así estábamos. 2D animation was my religion at the basic and fundamental skills developed. And you haven't pursued it lately? Like, you don't want to go for it? I think you should give it a shot, man. Especially with stuff that is going on right now. Maybe you have to do it full time, but as an extra. I do have to go in a couple of minutes, guys. This was supposed to be like a short stream because I do have to do some stuff today, and I don't wanna risk it in terms of time and all that. So I will probably jump out. In like, let's say 2 or 3 minutes. I have to meet with some friends because it's Friday finally. And I'm sick of being in my house for like forever, and we're just gonna drink some coffee and work at a cafe. But that's enough, man, to reset the brain a little bit. And there's nothing that I would like more to just see them. Actually, I'm meeting with the guy that I was telling you, my animator friend. And yeah, man, it's crazy times with all this COVID shit going on. Gets rough in the mind. Makes you think stuff that is not happening, and thinking about situations that are absurd. No problem, man. Thank you for watching, dude. Like, I'm trying to use the streams just to develop my comic slowly and steadily, because if it wasn't for that, it's really hard to just do it on your own, man. It feels like super slow process. It's basically like going to a freaking gym. Like, you going there for months and you don't see anything until like 3 months going there or something. Like, you're not gonna see something quick. And now that I have like 18 pages, I can finally tell that I'm proud of what I'm doing. Like, I'm liking it a lot, and the idea and the story is taking shape. But before that, it's very like, oh my god, this is gonna take so much time. There's a lot of this negative talking on your head, man. It's crazy. It's like a lot of willpower. One time I tried to do like the assets in paper and then using like an ink, and they look super cool to make it untraditional. But then when I scanned them and put it on the comic book, they look so different from what I was doing visually. They look cool, but it looks like it was obvious that the background was drawn traditional and the comic wasn't. So I stopped doing it like that. It could fit for some scenes though. Well, I think this is gonna be it, guys. I need to get ready. Get a shower and all that, and put everything on my backpack so I don't miss anything accidentally. Thank you very much, guys, for watching the stream and for joining me on this very slow process of making a comic book on my own. Thank you very much. See you guys next time. I'm gonna stay a little bit so because I know we have a lag on the stream. I don't know how much it is. I think it's like 30 seconds. So thank you very much, Howard, David, No Name, Kelvin. Yes, it's really early here. It's 8:20 right now that I'm finishing. Ichan, thank you very much for coming, man. I really appreciate it. ¿Algún consejo antes de irte para crear buenos environments o landscape? I will say, yo diría muchísimos sketches. A veces son más importantes que el trabajo en sí. Y hoy en día, a pesar de que no sea tan interesante, trata de siempre usar referencia y buscar una iluminación real. Porque a menos que sea un proyecto cartoony o algo así, no tienes mucha libertad. Si vas a hacer cosas como más cartoony, pues yo diría que le metieras luces como más locas, ¿no? Como otros colores, y usaras cosas interesantes que sí, no sé, de repente estás en una cueva y pones humo verde, cosas así raras, ¿no? La papa, what the hell? His English is amazing. What are you saying, man? My English accent, it's freaking Latin American trying to speak English. Thank you very much. Alright guys, I truly have to go. Thank you, and